welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing Ugly and Bright and its coordinating dies. So let's go ahead and check it out. This set has 3 adorable critters and some sweaters that you can put on them. And I love these critters because they can be used with the sweaters or they can be used on their own. And we have a fox, bear, and a deer. And then we have 6 styles of sweaters. We have a blank sweater, and I'm going to show you some cool things to do with that later. A snowflake sweater, a Santa sweater, a Christmas tree sweater, and also a cute little snowman sweater, and of course a little Santa themed outfit sweater. There's also some other accessories. We have a Santa hat and a little beanie and a candy cane that the characters can hold, or you could even stamp in that blank sweater. Then we have this speech bubble and all of these great phrases that you can put in the speech bubble. So we have Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Fa la 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 la, which is my favorite, Ugly but Cute. We have Ho ho ho. We also have Let's Party and Happy Hanukkah. We also have some great larger sentiments. We have Eat, Drink, and Be Tacky, have a cozy holiday season, and May your sweaters be ugly and bright, which is one of my favorites. So now we're going to use Copic markers to add some color to these adorable images, and I just love coloring in these little critters. And I didn't used to use these E17, 15 markers before for foxes, but it's what Tammy from the design team uses, and oh my goodness, I just love it on this little fox. Now, these characters are so much fun, and I personally love an ugly Christmas sweater. I even have one that lights up. It's awesome. So it's so much fun to decorate these, and I feel like it's just such a cute way to do a card because so many people love doing ugly Christmas sweater parties or just wearing them all around town. So I think this is just a really, really fun way to kind of celebrate that. And so I'm going to be coloring in all these little characters, and you can see that I'm adding shading towards the outside and then kind of blending it lighter towards the inside. If you're using the character on its own, of course, you would see the whole character, but when you put the sweater over it, you don't really see the middle. So I'm not doing a bunch of shading towards the center because I know I'm going to cover it up with one of those adorable little sweaters. Now, of course, we have our ugly holiday themed sweaters, but we also have the blank sweater too. And what I love about the blank sweater is that's what takes this set from the holidays to beyond. And I always love it when a theme stamp set has ways to use it throughout the year. And so on that blank sweater, you could either color it in plain or stamp different things. And I'm going to be showing you that in just a little bit. Once I'm done coloring this sweet little deer, oh, I just love him so much, we'll color in his hooves there. We can start adding color to the sweaters, and this is where it's so much fun to play around with different colors. So we have the plain sweater, and I'm just going to do this one in just like a plain blue. I thought that would be really cute. And then we're going to work on the snowflake sweater, and this is where it's really fun to take out traditional red and green type colors, or you can even do some non-traditional holiday colors like pinks and teals. So there's a lot of fun ways to play around with these. Now, once I had my green markers out, I decided to go ahead and color in all the things that I wanted to be green all at once. So since I have my images stamped out, and this is a way to make your coloring go a bit faster, is once you have your markers out, color in everything you want to be green or red, etc. all at once. So there you can see I'm just adding a little bit of shading. And for the sweater, I'm doing the darker parts towards the outside and lighter towards the center so that it almost looks kind of rounded. And that way it looks like our critters are actually wearing the sweater. I just love this little like Santa sweater, Santa outfit, and I'm going to color it in red like Santa's suit, but you could also do it in green and then it would look almost like a little elf sweater, which I think is really adorable as well. Now I'm doing some different shades of green, so I had some more standard greens and now I'm bringing in some yellow greens for more of like a little neon-y look, and then we're going to have a fun little red and green alternating detail at the top of that sweater, and then I'm going to use some of the neon-y kind of yellowy green on the outside of the Christmas tree sweater, and then the darker, more full green there for the Christmas trees. Now, for the areas that are white, I'm using a warm gray marker and just adding a little bit of detail around the edges, and that's going to make the white of those images really pop. Then here for the snowman sweater is where I'm going to do some of the non-traditional colors, so we're going to do some of the pink and teal, which looks really, really cute on this sweater. Now we're going to take a look at the idea of decorating this blank sweater. So I'm going to stamp out a bunch of sweaters here so I can do a bunch of different designs. And the way I like to see if an image is going to fit in the sweater is I literally just lay the stamp set right over the sweater and just see if it's going to fit inside. And so this apple is going to fit right inside this sweater, which is going to make for such a cute fall theme sweater. Then a lot of our stamp sets have little hearts. Those are really, really cute added to the sweater as well. That would be adorable for Valentine's Day. And then this all the cloud stamp set has this tiny little sun. And we have a lot of images, tiny little images in our stamp set. So you'll be able to kind of shop your stash and see what you can stamp into these cute little sweaters. And so I'm going to add that fun little detail of the sun to that one. And then I'm going to add this open apple to a sweater as well that we're going to use in a card just a little bit. And then all you need to do is add color with markers or colored pencil or whatever your favorite way to color is. And another fun way to kind of add some detail to these markers is to take a black pen. This is a Copic multi-liner, and I'm just adding some fun little detail to the edge of the sweater, and that's going to make it look a little bit different too. Then we can use our markers to add detail to the sweaters. You can see the fall theme that we have on the left, the Valentine's in the middle, and then just the general everyday sunshiny rainbow look that we have on the right. And then here's the comparison to the pre-done holiday sweaters. So I love that there's so many different ways to use this set. Now these are the coordinating dies for the set, which you can bend apart at the tabs or use your wire snips to separate. We're going to take those dies and line them up with our images, hold them in place with some low tack tape. We'll run it through the die cut machine, and then we'll have beautifully cut out images of the set. And here is a look at all of the images included in the set. They are just so cute, and I love this idea of almost like paper dolls where you can decorate these cute little critters. So you can add the different hats on them, you can put the speech bubble, either stamp a phrase or even put the candy cane in the speech bubble or have them hold the candy cane. And then you can layer those sweaters on top of them. And is that not just the cutest thing you've ever seen? It just makes me smile so much. It's so much fun to just play around with them and mix and match. You can see how cute that plain sweater looks as well. And that little Santa outfit one is just adorable. And then now we're going to go ahead and take out the other sweaters that we created, the custom sweaters, and you'll see how cute these look for either every day or fall, Valentine's Day, any time of the year. So super cute, and I love that you can mix and match any of the sweaters on any of the critters. Now it's time to start creating cards with this set, and we're going to make 3 different cards, including an interactive card in this video. And first up, we are starting off with a card by Tammy that is so super cute, and we're going to take out Frosties, which was a retired set that we re-released, and we're going to use some of the adorable snowflakes to create a fun background for our ugly and bright critters. So we went ahead and prepped the cardstock there with an anti-static pattern tool, and then we're going to stamp in some clear embossing ink with all of these different snowflakes, and they're so fun. They're just this fun kind of hand-drawn whimsical snowflakes, and it's just really awesome to create your own background with them. So we're going to stamp all over the place, and then we're going to sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder. Then we can heat it up with the heat tool, and we'll have these beautiful shiny white snowflakes in our background. Now to add more of a snow look, we're going to take some white acrylic paint. This is some Copic white, but any white acrylic paint will do. We're going to add some water just to water it down just a little bit, pick it up with the paintbrush, and then we're going to tap on the edge of the acrylic block here to create some splatters. And you'll see as we add these splatters, it really gives that fun, snowy effect in the background. It just kind of ties the whole thing. And I just love this look of the white snowflakes on craft cardstock. It's so beautiful. Now to go along with our snowflake theme here, we're going to take out the Snow Flurries backdrop die, and it's one of my favorite dies. It's absolutely gorgeous with these beautiful snowflake details, and it also creates a really great frame for adding in different characters or sentiments into cards. So we're just going to add some tape runner on the back of that frame and then layer that over the top, and isn't that just so beautiful? You can like feel the kind of frosty window feel of it all. Then next up, we're going to take out the Ugly and Bright stamp set and those critters that we colored and stamped and die cut earlier, and we're going to start decorating with these guys. And this is the fun part. It's just awesome to decide who's going to get which sweater, which hat they're going to get. It's just so cute and sweet. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the sweaters, and then we're going to layer them on each of the critters, and then we'll give them a cute little hat as well. And then we'll add some foam squares to the back of each critter to give them some pop. And one thing I think would be really fun to do with this stamp set is that you could pre-stamp and cut out different sweaters and different critters, and kids could color them in and then decorate the different critters. I think it would be such a fun little craft, and they could even make holiday cards with their friends or something like that. It's just such a cute set for things like this. Next up, we're going to work on the sentiment. So here we have some Noble Fur cardstock. It's such a pretty green for Christmas. We're going to prep it with an anti-static powder tool and then stamp the sentiment in some clear embossing ink. Then we'll sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder, heat it up with the heat tool, and we'll have a nice bright white shiny sentiment that's going to coordinate with our white snowflakes. Then we're just going to use our paper trimmer to trim all around it. Then we'll add some foam squares to the back and then layer that on to the card. And then all we need to do is add it to a card base. So that'll be a standard size card at 5.5 by 4.25. And this card is all done. It is so super cute. I just love it. I love that you could do a bunch of these with a bunch of different sweaters or different color themes as well. I just think it's just so sweet and it makes me smile. Next up, we're going to be creating the coolest interactive card by Maureen. So thank you so much, Maureen, for walking us through your process so that we could share this on the video. So we're going to die cut with a stitched rectangle some of the Let It Shine Starry Skies paper, but it's the B side there. And then we're also going to be die cutting some spiffy speckles paper that's going to become our snow. Now from that spiffy speckles paper, we're going to take one of these stitched wavy borders and we're going to die cut 2 pieces from either side there so we have some nice snowy hills that we can layer on. Then to add some detail, we're going to take some salvage patina distress oxide ink and we're just going to add a little bit of the ink towards the bottom of these snowy hills and let it just kind of fade out into nothing. And this blends really, really nicely with that spiffy speckles paper and I think it just looks so cool and I can't wait to use this technique on other snowy cards. Next, we need to figure out the placement of everything on the card. So we have our 2 snowbanks, and we're also going to take out the Ugly and Bright stamp set, and we're going to be using the deer from the stamp set this time. And so we're going to lay the deer on the card, and we know he needs to be kind of in the middle, so we're just kind of eyeballing and seeing how everything's going to work. And when we did that, we realized that that first snowbank was a bit too short, but you know what? That's okay because it's going to get covered up. So we're just going to take a little pencil here and make a mark on the side so we know exactly where to adhere that one. Then we can just add some tape runner to the back of that and line it up with our pencil line, and then that'll be in perfect placement and that little gap on the bottom is going to end up covered up once we're done with the whole card. Then the next thing we're going to do is add some tape runner to the back of our deer and we're going to layer him in the center so that his antlers are kind of right at the top edge of that snowbank. And you'll see that we're using the snowbank that's going to go in front as a guide as to where this little guy should go. Create this really cool interactive mechanism, we're going to be using the wheel from the reveal wheel, but we're not going to be using the rest of the reveal wheel. So here you can see the reveal wheel dies, and we're just going to use that wheel from the main reveal wheel base die. And we're going to be die cutting that wheel from some acetate, so it's going to be nice and clear. Then the next thing we need to do is take this wheel and figure out the placement. So you want a little bit of the wheel overhanging at the bottom because that's where you're going to spin it. So here you can see we're just kind of eyeballing it, want a little bit of that wheel hanging out, and then we're just going to take a pokey tool and poke a hole right through the center of that reveal wheel. And the die creates that hole for you in the reveal wheel, so it's nice and easy. You don't have to think about it at all. You just poke right through, and now you're going to have the perfect placement for the hole for this reveal wheel piece. Then we're going to take out this little mini brad and we're going to put it through the acetate wheel and then also through the card, and then we can open up the prongs in the back to secure that in place. And so once again, we have this reveal wheel that's covering up a bit of the deer and a piece of it is hanging out from the bottom. Then next up, we have to take out our sweaters. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be spinning this wheel so that you can change the sweater that the deer is wearing. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the sweater, and then we're just going to add it right on to this wheel, just like that. Then once you have that first sweater placed, we're going to go ahead and spin that wheel, and we're going to use that other snowbank as a guide because when we spin the wheel, we want to make sure that that sweater hides behind that snowbank because that snowbank is what's going to kind of let the magic happen of this whole wheel thing. So we know the snowbank's going to line up just about there, and so we can twist the wheel and see exactly where that next sweater needs to go. Now the cool thing is if you don't get the sweater placement exact, that's okay. We're using tape runner. You could always pop it off and try again. But you'll see here we're going to add this next sweater. And then we can do the same thing. We can put the snowbank over top and spin the wheel, making sure those other 2 sweaters are hidden when we add our third one. So there we're going to add that snowbank, and then we can spin that wheel and make sure that both sweaters are hidden. And now we know we're good to add our next sweater on top. So once again, we're going to add some tape runner onto that little Santa sweater, and then we're going to layer that right on top of that deer. Now we thought it looked a bit strange with that acetate wheel kind of covering part of the deer's face. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut the deer head off of another deer and we're going to layer it over top. So we're just going to trim right along the stamp line there, kind of right under his chin, and we're going to be able to layer it over top. Now, if you made this card and you didn't mind that the acetate wheel was covering his face, you could just leave it plain too, and I think that would be super cute as well. But we're just going to trim this little guy, and you'll see how it's going to give it a little bit more of a seamless look as the sweater starts to change. Now, we need to make sure that his head isn't going to get in the way of that wheel moving, so we're just going to trim a little foam square there, and we're going to add it right onto the deer, right above the wheel, and then we can layer that deer head right on top. That foam square is going to hold it in place and give it enough height for the wheel to be able to spin underneath. And now it looks a little bit more clean without the wheel covering up part of the deer's face. Now, before we add that last snowbank, we're going to do some stamping on there. And we're going to be mixing and matching two different stamp sets. So for one of them, we're going to be using one of the sentiments from the set, which is my favorite, which is the May Your Sweaters Be Ugly and Bright, which goes really, really well with this changing sweater idea that we're doing. So we're going to stamp that in some black licorice ink so that it's a nice and bold sentiment. Then for the top, we're actually going to be taking out Winter Scripty Sentiments, which is one of my favorites. It's an older set and I just love it. And it has these bigger, beautiful sentiments in it. And we're going to use the 'Tis the Season. And this time we're going to stamp in some River Rock ink so that there's a nice mix and match between the gray and the black of the two parts of the sentiment. Now it's time to add the last snowbank onto the card, but we need to make sure we add it carefully so that the wheel can still spin. So we're going to add some of the foam squares right directly onto the card. That way we know they're in perfect placement and you can test that wheel and make sure it still spins. And then the rest of them we can just add some foam squares to the back of this piece and then layer it on top. Now, for the rest of the design of this card, Maureen got really creative and she shopped her stash looking through a bunch of holiday sets and also a baby set to create this really cute idea. Now, here she's using the trees from Simply Celebrate Winter, and I love this tree set here as a way to add a bunch of detail to a card, but not to have to die cut a bunch of trees because it die cuts them in all one big row. So we're going to kind of tuck that behind that snowbank there, and I think it just looks incredible. And then here is something from Little Bundle, and we're going to be using that with this set. And what's so cute about this is it's meant to be a clothesline that holds a bunch of baby clothes, but instead it's going to be holding the sweaters. So we're going to add this clothesline there into the background around those trees. We're going to tuck it behind the snowbank, and then we're going to be able to hang the sweaters from it. And I love the idea of looking to a baby set to give us some inspiration for a holiday card. So we're going to add each of those sweaters on with some tape runner, and then the Little Bundle baby stamp set has these cute little clothespins that we can layer on top of the sweaters to hold them in place. Then next, we're going to bring in Santa and Mrs. Claus from the Ho Ho Holidays stamp set. And then we're going to add some trees from Winter Skies and a little grouping of presents as well, just as some fun decoration. So we've got some presents there, and then we're going to layer these cute little trees onto the card to kind of bring the trees we have in the background also into the foreground. And I think this is just such a fun design and such a creative way to use an interactive die in a totally different way. So cute and so clever. So the next thing we need to do is just add this onto a standard size card base. It'll be 5.5 by 4.25. And now this card is all done, and the most fun part of all is spinning this wheel. How cute is this? So you just spin it at the very bottom for that little piece of the wheel that we left sticking out of the bottom of the card. And so you just spin right there, and each of the sweaters change on the deer. So sweet, so fun, and oh my goodness, this card would definitely make somebody smile. Now that we've created two holiday cards with Ugly and Bright, I thought it would be fun to use that decorating the sweater concept to create a fall card. And we're going to be recreating a gorgeous card by Elena. So here we have that little sweater that we created earlier with that little apple slice on there. And we're going to layer that onto the bear. Now, Elena did something really, really cool with this sweater, which was so fun, and I wanted to show you what she did. So she's going to make it look like one continuous die cut. So I'm going to take the same color marker that I colored the bear with, and I'm just coloring that top edge of the sweater so that I know exactly kind of where to line him up on the deer. And then once I kind of figure out where it should go along his neck, I'm going to add some tape runner to the back of that and layer that on. And you'll see what I'm doing in just a second. So you'll see when we layer that on there, what we're going to do is we're going to take out a thin black marker. I'm using a Copic multi-liner, and we're going to connect some lines. So here at the top, we're going to connect the line of the sweater to the line of the neck, making it look like his neck is extending down into the sweater die cut. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Then I'll take out that brown marker. That's the same brown marker I used to color the bear, and we're just going to fill in the little gaps there because I didn't color it exactly perfectly at the beginning there. We're just going to color those little edges there right onto those black lines that we created. Then we'll do the same thing with his paws. So we're going to connect the line of the paw to the line of the sweater. And this is going to make it look continuous. So we're just going to take that little multi-liner, and you'll see I'm just going really slow and kind of layering it. You'll see I kind of have to have the pen right above to make sure that I can really connect those lines. I definitely put my reading glasses on for this one. And then now I can take that same brown marker and just fill in the gaps. And look at that. Isn't this such a fun thing to do? I just love it. Yanea from the design team does this a lot as well, and it's such a cool way to get a different look out of your die cuts. So all you do is just extend the lines with a black marker and then fill in with the color that you colored the bear, and you'll have this cool continuous die cut look. Now here we have the largest of the stitched rectangles, and we're going to die cut some vanilla malt cardstock. And then we're also going to be die cutting some craft cardstock as well, and we're going to use the largest of the outside in stitched rectangles, and this is going to give us this nice layered double stitching look. Now on this craft piece, what we're going to be doing is using our awesome fall leaf stencils. And this is one of my favorite stencils ever. I just love fall leaves so much. And we don't get fall leaves here in California very often. So I have to stencil them instead, right? Or die cut them. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to use some pizza crust ink, which is just a little bit darker than the craft cardstock. And it's going to give this really beautiful tone on tone look. And I'm just going to color the whole stencil over with this pizza crust ink. Then to give the leaves a little bit of detail, we're going to take out the artichoke ink, and we're going to use this little finger dauber because this is going to help us get a little bit more of a detailed look versus a large brush that's really hard to kind of get into small places. And we're just going to ink the leaves just a little bit. So you'll see I'm just kind of going down the edges of the leaves or maybe just down the vein. And so that green is going to blend into the brown, and you're going to see it's going to look so beautiful. I just love doing this because it's the big reveal part. You know, you lift up the stencil and voila, you'll see how beautiful the green and the brown look together. It really looks like fall leaves. Now this is a two-part stencil, so we're going to take the next stencil and line it up. Then we can hold that in place with these magnets, or you could use some tape to hold it down. And then we're going to do a very similar technique again. We're going to take the pizza crust ink, and we're going to go over the whole entire stencil, covering in those leaves and berries and everything. Then we'll take the artichoke ink in the little finger dauber, and we'll go along the veins or the edges of the leaves to add a little bit of green to them. Now this second part of the stencil has these little berries in them, and I wanted them to have kind of a darker red color. So we're going to take out this cranberry ink that's just so pretty, and we're going to use the little finger dauber again. And this time I'm kind of pouncing up and down on those little berry circles to make sure I don't get the red ink anywhere else. And you'll see I kind of peeked to make sure it was looking okay, and it was looking really good. So I was going to continue on there, just pouncing on those little red circles with the red ink. And so I just went around my stencil kind of looking for all the little berries that I could find and just started filling them in. So there you can see we're just kind of going all along the stencil. And this is a fun way to get different looks out of your stencil by using little finger daubers to add some color to smaller images of the stencils, like the berries, or adding a little bit of green onto the leaves. And then when we lift up the stencil, oh my gosh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, it's just like fall perfection. I love it so much. It's so warm and so gorgeous. And so now we're going to take this piece and we're going to start creating our card. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the beautiful stencil fall leaves, and we're going to layer that on to the vanilla malt cardstock. And then we're going to take out the giant happy fall die, and we're going to die cut that from that same vanilla malt cardstock, and we're going to be layering that as the sentiment onto our card. Now, to give it some pop, we're going to be using some of these foam strips. These foam strips are really great for adding foam on the back of these letters. You can use longer pieces on the longer parts of the letters and then use your scissors to just snip off little bits for the other parts of the letters. Then we can peel up that line of paper and add that on, and you'll see that pop just makes it feel really, really special. Then to create this fall scene, we went ahead and shopped our stash again. So we looked for fall themed sets. You Autumn Know is a great one because there's a ton of fall leaves in it. And then of course we have our Ugly and Bright bear that we colored and did that fun connected technique with earlier. So we're going to go ahead and just add some of these leaves from You Autumn Know to kind of help fill in the scene in the bottom and give our bear a really cute place to stand. And of course we're going to want to have some falling leaves in the sky as well. Now the bear, he's going to be popped up because he's kind of the star of our fall show here. So he'll be popped up just like our awesome happy fall. And then we're going to add a little heart to the center of that speech bubble. And of course a foam square for that as well. And then the rest of the leaves we're going to add on with some tape runner so that there's some falling leaves coming down, almost like they're coming down from the sentiment. And this looks so pretty. And when Rebecca on the team, she colored these leaves, absolutely gorgeous. And so we added some of the greens and reds that we stenciled with so that everything coordinated really, really nicely. So we'll just kind of keep adding all these leaves into the scene, along with some swirlies as well, just to really give that windy feel. Then here we have a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25, and we can layer on this beautiful fall piece right on top, and we have this gorgeous card that would make anybody smile. And now we have taken a holiday stamp set and turned it into a fall card, and I love being able to do things like that. And next up we have some incredible cards by the design team. And first up, this card by Callie is so sweet. I just love how she colored in her sweaters. Audrey was so creative and she used our washing machine set to create this cute themed card with the deer. It just makes me smile. This card by Elena is just gorgeous. I love her over the mountain borders in the background and that they're all dreaming of different things. This card by Megan is so sweet, and I just love Santa hanging out with his sweater wearing reindeer. This is so fun by Melissa. I love that she used our awesome platform pop-up. These guys are such a fun match to that. And then this card by Mindy is so sweet, and she used our nitpicky paper to create such a beautiful background for these awesome Ugly and Bright critters. Here's the card by Tammy that inspired us to make ours. And then we have a beautiful card by Elise, and she hot foiled her sentiment as well, which looks so cool with these really cute critters. This is the fall card by Elena that inspired us to make ours today. I just love those fall colors and her cool technique of connecting the stamped lines. And then this card by Grace also uses the washing machine, and oh my goodness, it just makes me smile. It's so cute and sweet. And then this is that interactive card by Maureen that inspired us to make ours. And if you make one of these, make sure to share it with us. This card by Kara is so fun, and I love that she added so many of these cute critters onto her card. And then Lynette has these awesome traditional red and green colors with her adorable Ugly and Bright characters. And then here I love how Letitia made the sweaters of the star of the show on her super cute and colorful card. So we cannot wait to see what you guys create with Ugly and Bright, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!